Hi, in this video we'll talk about the basics of setting up and configuring your Apple ID. What's an Apple ID? Well, the Apple ID is your account with Apple that allows you to access the iPad's App Store, as well as actually the Macintosh App Store, the iBooks Store. All sorts of Apple stores are connected to your Apple ID. It's one account with one name and one password that allows you to purchase goods from the different stores that Apple has to offer. Now, an Apple ID is optional, but without it, you're not going to be able to download and install any of the apps on your iPad, and that's arguably one of the greatest things about the iPad is all the different apps that are available. Now, you probably set up an Apple ID as part of the setup process when you first turned on your iPad. However, if you chose to skip that step, let me show you how to actually set up an Apple ID. This is something that you can do on your iPad, though you can also do it on a computer on a website as well. I'm going to open up the Settings app, and I'm going to, in the Settings list, choose the Store option, and you can see that there's not a lot here. I've got a few apps that actually are doing stuff, but what I'm looking for here is this Sign In button. This iPad currently doesn't have any Apple ID connected with it. When I hit sign in, I get an option that allows me to say use an existing Apple ID, create a new one, or if I forgot my information, I can retrieve it. Now, if you have more than one Apple device, like an iPhone as well, and you've already got an Apple ID, you can just use that first button to actually enter your name and password and have your iPad set up right away to use the Apple ID. But if you need to create a new one, I'm going to tap the Create New Apple ID option, and the first thing it wants to know is where you are. We're in the United States. The reason they ask this is because the App Store is actually customized to different countries, and not all apps are available in all countries at the same time for various legal reasons. I'm going to tap Next. And then there's going to be a whole lot of legal information for me to read through. Notice 42 pages. Of course, you should always read any legal agreement you're getting into, but as we probably usually do, I'm just going to agree. And Apple wants to know that I actually do agree. And then there will be a screen where I need to enter some information. I'm going to save you the hassle of watching me type it, and I'm just going to magically wave my wand. Presto, the information is filled in. This is fictitious information based on my son. But once you've got all that filled in, along with those 3 security questions, the birth date, you might be wondering why Apple needs your birth date. That's because there's some applications that are not appropriate for children, and this helps the iPad figure out whether those should be available to you or not. I'm going to hit the Next button. Okay, now notice that to use an Apple ID, you got to have a credit card. A lot of the apps on the App Store are free. However, there still needs to be a credit card on file, just on the off chance that you actually will want to buy something. Apple will never charge you unless you actually agree to it. Presto, the information is there. I'm going to hit Next. Note that it actually wants to make sure you belong to the Apple ID, so it will send you a verification email. Once you have answered that email and clicked the appropriate links, now you'll notice that because I needed to verify my email address, it doesn't look like the App Store actually knows who I am. Do note that you might have to answer 2 verification email requests, one for the email account that you chose as your Apple ID, the other to go with whatever verification or a rescue email account they asked for. Now that I've answered those, I'm going to sign in, and I'm going to choose Use Existing Apple ID this time. Type in that information that I created, and I'm going to tap OK. It's going to think for a moment. And now you can see that I am signed in. At the bottom of the screen, it gives me information upon what my Apple ID is, and at the top, it gives me a few options. When I purchase things on my iPad, I have the ability to have them download automatically to other devices. So if I have an iPhone, when I get music there, I can have it automatically show up here. You can turn those on and off. And that is the basics of setting up an Apple ID.